Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast, a deep dive into all things Disney Vacation Club. We share tips, tricks, and insider info, helping you make the most of your membership. Join us for the latest news, reviews, and interviews with DVC experts and enthusiasts. Whether you're a seasoned DVC member or considering your first contract, this podcast is for you. Now, here are your hosts, Mike Hurley and Gary Arruda.
Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. This is episode 15, recorded in the DeFont Leroy Recording Studios in Sarasota, Florida, and Cranston, Rhode Island. I'm your host, Mike in Florida, joined by my cousin and co-host Gary up in Rhode Island. Good evening, Gary.
What's going on?
Not much.
What's doing your neck of the woods? Anything exciting?
No, didn't play golf because they had the fall member guest, so.
Oh.
Just chilling.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
How's that place holding up? Pretty good?
Oh, yeah.
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 Back to 100% after the storm?
Pretty much up. All the trees have been cleared, all the debris, we're ready to rock.
Nice.
We have a second consecutive week in a row. We have a guest. Bob up in Massachusetts.
That's right.
What's going on?
Pleasure to be here, Mike and Gary. Been listening since you guys started the DVC podcast and love it. Big fan. So happy to be on the show. It's great to be here.
Are you a golfer?
A bad golfer, but yes, a golfer.
Okay, that makes three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we got the Boston accents in common as well. So bad golf and Boston accents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got we're big fans of you as well. You have that gorgeous website.
Yeah, we're gonna bring you on to discuss that further. That's how we found you, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. We're really happy with it. The community's given us a lot of good feedback, and we're always just trying to improve it. And super happy to hear that you guys have used it. And I think I heard you may have found your contracts on there as well. So
yeah, I found a great deal. My wife is not a fan of your website because I'm constantly talking to her about 5 stars. We had a conversation the other night about sleep around points, so she's not a fan, but Gary and I are both fans.
I still get emails. It still says second contract. I have to update my email settings for a third contract, but
if you want, we can keep it on the down low, and I will change the subject line so it doesn't look like it's coming from DVC For Less. You can hide the emails coming in.
I have a little more self-control and a little less money than Mike, so I can't really jump in.
Oh, you know what? You're so full of it because you're bad. You're getting to be worse than me now.
I'm an instigator though. I send screenshots to Mike all the time. I'm like, this wouldn't be bad. This wouldn't be bad.
Right. Gary, how long have you been an owner?
Just a couple years. What was it? Beginning of 23. I think.
Yeah, because mine was right around Thanksgiving of 22. That was my first contract.
Oh, right. Yeah, then you guys are definitely still going to be buying more contracts. That's still too early in your DVC life cycle that I'm sure there's more coming. So it's good.
So we're definitely going to be buying more?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. There was no hesitation there.
Yeah. I mean, look, you've heard the story 1,000 times over probably from anyone who's in DVC that you think that you're going to start with, maybe that 100-point contract, and that's going to be it for life, but it never works out that way. You're going to keep
plenty. 150 is plenty.
Right. Well, you named the podcast "Addicted to DVC," so you know what's up. It's physically an addiction. So, right. So,
I mean, I'm still so glad I never got into drugs when I was a kid, because I'd definitely be dead. Because if crack is anything like DVC contracts, there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I go multiple times. Like, it's not, are there any more like Riviera updated? Oh, what the hell's going on here?
Yep.
You're so bad that you're looking at like other use years. Like I have it set to just December, but you're out there looking at everything.
Yeah, I need a Grand Cal.
Yeah, I would not advise the other use year though, Mike.
I'll tell you what, this is my biggest regret. I found you. It'll be a year because we were at Grand Cal. Yeah. And she fell in love with it. And she's like, and I was looking to see if there are any contracts. Okay. And I still will go out to your site and click over to like the old. So like, you're not just looking at current, but you can look at olds.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It was my June use year. It was a 30-pointer.
Oh, those are rare.
It was 30. And I'm like, all right, that's 90 every 3 years. That would be perfect. I could go into a one bedroom. I'm like, this thing is
Right.
perfect. Sat on it,
Yep.
sat on it, sat on it. And then she's like, yeah, let's just do it. I go, gone, 30-pointer. Oh, that's just a dirty contract, isn't it?
That's not going to last long. That's going to get full asking every time, isn't it?
Oh, it was just such a pretty contract, and I can't find anything close to that anymore.
I think Grand Cal's still a little overinflated from the jump that it had last year when the Disneyland Hotel was about to be released. So it's still got a ways to go down, I think. I think you'll find another good contract, Mike, if you hold out.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do, though.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Mike, I think it's like a common thing again. When was the best time to buy? Yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
It's true.
When's the next best time to buy? Today.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you got some questions for our guest, Mike?
I do.
So introduce him to the audience.
You know what? We'll go in reverse because I want to ask you about your resorts toward the end because we'll jump into it. So let's see. What is your favorite resort?
Favorite resort? Yeah, that's a tough one. So like I have probably two answers for that. My favorite overall would be Alani. I don't know if either of you have been there yet.
It's on the list. I've heard that it's everybody's favorite.
Yeah, it's like nothing else. It really is. Like when you just think of walking out, and seeing the Pacific Ocean and all its grandeur, you're on an island, you're in Hawaii. The food is great. The amenities are fantastic. The rooms are great. You got basically a water park there. Yeah, I think that was really like an almost otherworldly experience, I'd say, being at Alani. But it's definitely not, there's no parks there or anything like that. So I would say if it's kind of on its own, and if I really just had to pick a resort, knowing that I'd be going back there over and over again, I would say probably honestly Boardwalk is my favorite. And I think Boardwalk is great because the location is fantastic. You're walking over to Epcot if you want. You got transportation options of the Skyliner, boats to either Hollywood or to Epcot. You've got now a number of great restaurants in there, but the sleeper part of like Boardwalk for me, it makes it great, is like the point chart is
ridiculous.
It's a fantastic point chart. I don't think people realize just how good it is, but we just stayed in a one bedroom there this summer. And, if you wanted to go at like Riviera or Poly or Grand Floridian, any of those, like it would be definitely more to stay in a studio than it would to stay in that one bedroom. So yeah, I think the point chart, the restaurants, everything else about it just makes it such a good resort. And we love the Polynesian as well. That's another huge favorite of ours. Up until this point though, it's only been studios. So we're starting to we've gone into the realm of one bedrooms, and it's hard to pull us back. And now that there's the one bedrooms at the Polynesian, it may change. Maybe that'll be our favorite moving forward. But yeah, I'd say the Boardwalk's got a special place for us. What are your favorites? Actually, I'm curious.
Gary, go ahead.
I think my favorite resort that I've stayed at so far, DVC, is I still like Saratoga. I know something about being the first and where you go. I really like it. I like the vibe there. I love the rooms. I did like Beach Club, but I didn't like fall in love with it for similar reasons. Like you saying, the Boardwalk, obviously location, the point chart is nice there. And Boulder Ridge, again, I loved the resort, didn't love the room as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Saratoga just had the best combination of both.
Yeah.
When they finally refurb Animal Kingdom, that might move back up to the top when we get the pull down Murphy beds in those rooms as opposed to the old sleeper couches. But yeah, right now I think Saratoga is my favorite.
And for me, it's Grand Cal. I was freaking blown away. Just the service there is so different than it is in Orlando. I was just blown away with that place.
Yeah.
I think the food's fantastic. The rooms are nice. The lobby's nice. Proximity. Have you ever been to the Disneyland resorts, Bob?
Yeah, well, the first and only time was the time we went to Alani. We stopped over at Disneyland, which I had never been to Disneyland either.
Yeah.
And yeah, we stayed at the Grand Cal for 3 nights, and it was awesome. Like you're saying, all those things definitely are great about the Grand Cal. Yeah.
And it's a super chill vibe. Like I know it's Disneyland is a locals park, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people congregate in the lobby like they do at the Grand Floridian at Christmas time. Like we were always able to get a spot by the fireplace, sit in a rocking chair and just chill for a couple hours. And that's when I was looking at your site, looking at contracts. I'm sitting there right because I think I would even take a picture and send it to Gary and say, I'm looking at contracts right now. There's a fire in the background. It's beautiful.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the vibe at Grand Cal is awesome. It really is.
And just being able to walk to the parks. I mean, it's ridiculous. Everything's in play.
Yeah. We were at the pool, and my daughter wanted to what's that water ride that's like right in the middle of California Adventure? It's like right over there.
Yeah,
Grizzly River Run.
Yeah. So it's just amazing. We were in the pool at Grand Cal, and she's like, why don't we just go on that ride like real quick? And we were over and done with that ride and back in the hotel, back in the pool, probably within 20 minutes or so or less or something along those lines, which is you'd just be still at your bus stop if you were at one of the, the hotels in Disney World.
Because we actually did time it one time. We went on Soarin', which is right at the entrance. Yeah. And we finished that, and it was time because we had rope dropped and we had been there for 3 hours. I'm like, let's head back to the room. So I literally timed it on my watch, and it was 7 minutes from leaving Soarin' to getting into our room. It's insane.
It's great. It's awesome. Can't beat it.
All right, what else do I have for you? What is your favorite park?
Yeah, so I definitely say Magic Kingdom, and I think for the most part that's it's a nostalgia thing. I'd say, I have childhood memories of the Magic Kingdom. Those are classic rides, Pirates, Thunder, all the classic rides for me are there, and it's probably more so because my kids are now turning 10 this week, and the other one just turned 8. So, for the most part, they've been kind of limited up to this point. And for the more, younger kid kind of rides, there's just more of them at Magic Kingdom. There's more entertainment for them. You got the parades, you got the fireworks, things like that. So just watching Disney through their eyes, you can't beat, I think, the Magic Kingdom for that. But, dining there is kind of a disaster. I really can't think of a single restaurant there that really is that I am looking forward to going to. So, those are one of the reasons maybe why I'd say Magic Kingdom's not as great. But yeah, but we'll see, because now my kids are getting older and maybe they're going to be into Hollywood Studios. They'll go on more rides there. They'll go on more rides, maybe at Epcot as well. Although actually, to be honest with you, I think they've now, my youngest hasn't done things like the Guardians ride, but she's done everything else at Epcot. So anyway, yeah, that's Magic Kingdom, I'd say.
So when you're talking about how the food's not that great, you wouldn't say that Tony's is as good as anything you can get in the North End?
Well, no. I mean, the North End, Tony's is barely anything better than down the street in Woburn here. So yeah, I don't think so.
That garlic bread tower, though, that does look intriguing. I don't even know what they pour on it, but that looks like halfway decent.
Oh, really? I haven't actually eaten it, Tony. So I'll reserve judgment. Maybe
no, it's not good. But they have like this tower of garlic bread that they poured. Have you seen that, Gary?
Yeah, it's got like a blue cheese thing they put over the top of it.
Yeah, it looks okay. That place is just
yeah.
Who's your favorite character?
Character, I would say, Mickey's classic, right? So I think of, again, nostalgia growing up. Mickey for sure would be something I think, immediately associate with Disney. But I also used to love those goofy cartoons where, they were like kind of educational cartoons. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like Goofy goes and like learns to ski, or learns I remember there's one episode where it's like learns the highway. They teach you about like the highway system in the United States or something like that. That's a classic one.
Was that like on Disney Channel, like the old Disney Channel, or what?
Oh yeah, old school Disney Channel.
Like 6-minute shorts, like one where he's playing baseball and they're teaching him how to teaching him how to play baseball.
I'll
Gary
have to look
knows.
it up.
Yeah. So I think for those reasons, like goofy, but no, it's got to be Mickey, I'd say, for just the classic nature of it all. So yeah. Yep.
What is your favorite quick service?
It's got to be Geyser Point at Wilderness Lodge, I would say. Yeah, it's I don't know if either of you have been there. I assume actually I think you have, because I think it was on your list of like good places either to watch a game or
Yeah, it was.
lounges. Yeah, and I fully agree with that. You got the bison burger there. You got a bunch of other small eats that are really good. What else you got there? I mean,
They got
good
good
bar,
chicken wings.
atmosphere, good chicken wings. They used
Chicken
to
wings
have these.
are great.
Was it like these nachos with like burnt ends or something like that? I think it's gone now, unfortunately, but that was really good. And then the only thing I will say that I'm not a huge fan of is my wife's a teacher, so we have to go in the summertime sometimes, and often rather, I would say, when we do go. And it is sweltering hot, as you guys know, in Florida. And Geyser Point doesn't have, it's not enclosed. There's no air conditioning, so you're hopeful that that fan is going to blow really well. Because I don't care how good the bison burger is, the humidity can ruin a good day. So yeah,
It's a better nighttime spot for sure in the summer.
that's a good point, Gary. Yeah,
Let
for
the
sure.
sun go down. Yeah.
Yep,
Because they're able to
absolutely.
keep away the bugs somehow. I still don't understand how they do it, but they do a good job keeping the bugs away.
Yeah, they do. Disney has tricks up their sleeve.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So what's your favorite one credit?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I don't even remember what like a one credit restaurant is, but I think I think Ohana is a one credit, if I'm not mistaken.
Now,
at
when was the
Poly.
last time
Yeah.
you've been there? Because that place is hit or miss. It is a one credit, but
Is it? Okay. So yeah, the last time we went there was probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I know it's kind of taken a little bit of a dive since then. But again, I think about what do you get there? You get a good location. You're at the Polynesian, you get the vibe of the Poly, which is just, to me, it's just awesome. You get a little bit of entertainment with the guy who's doing some ukulele playing.
been there for like
At the
100
time, they
years,
were doing
hasn't he?
What's that?
That guy's been there like 100 years, hasn't he?
Yeah. So you got that. Yeah, they had the coconut races with the kid for the kids. That was fun. And then you just get like I think it may have changed to family style, but back in the day, they were just, coming over with like skewers and things like that. So it's just nonstop food, and you can't beat nonstop food, I would say.
You're right, because I haven't been in a while, and the few times that I've been, I thought it was fantastic, and I know it's been getting hammered lately. But the family style just doesn't do it, because I every time you come over with those meat skewers, it's like, bartender, pour me another one.
Exactly, right? Yeah. It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Because the noodles are phenomenal.
I think the biggest problem there is you just get rushed.
Yeah.
Which
I heard that's also hit or miss too.
Yeah.
Right.
Some people have said that they felt rushed, and others have been, no, it was good.
Yeah, I think we lucked out. Nobody ever made us feel too rushed. So yeah, it's one of our favorites. The only thing I will say is we went one time, and it was for the 4th of July, and we had this perfect plan. And like, it's really hard to get that restaurant for the 4th of July because everybody wants to go, and they want to go and they want to watch the fireworks from the beach at the Poly. And so like I spent hours just trying to like steal this reservation for the 4th of July so we could go, and we could then watch the fireworks and go down on the beach. But we went, and then unfortunately, like, they would only allow you to go to the beach if you had a wristband on, signifying that you were staying at the resort. It wasn't good enough just to actually be eating at the restaurant. So long story short, we sadly didn't get to watch it from the beach, but it was still a good time anyway. So yeah, that's my one sore spot with Ohana. Although is Nomad Lounge, is that a one credit? Have you ever been to Nomad Lounge in
So Nomad Lounge would be kind of a one credit. I mean, Tiffin's is a 2 credit that it's attached to if you go inside, but yeah, I guess Nomad would be a one.
That's a hidden gem for sure.
Oh, Nomad's phenomenal.
Oh my God. Yeah, you talk about like, you're in this like busy park, Animal Kingdom, hot and sweaty, and then noisy and everything else. And then like you just walk into Nomad Lounge, and then if you get to sit on the outside like along the, I think there's a little river there or whatever, and like it just perfectly obfuscates. You can't see the park as the people walking by as much. You can't hear the noise. It's like literally you get transported to a completely different world. And the food is good. The drinks are awesome. They have this this one drink with like a little 151 floater on it, and it's my favorite drink to go and get. Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yeah, their small plates are fantastic. I love that place.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
All right, so we'll finish with food. What's your favorite 2-credit or signature? Now, I'm gonna assume with 2 little kids, you don't get to the signatures too often.
Oh, we don't let them get in the way.
We're still
going to the signature. Yeah. No, at least one time a trip we'll definitely want to hit up a signature, and it's a Disney signature, so it's still got a little bit of like there's a kids menu, right? It's not like you're going to the Capitol Grill or something like that. There's not going to be a kids menu. Disney's going to have a kids menu for your kids.
Yeah, and the kids menu is going to be $50 prefix.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, so yeah, signature. Then we like California Grill.
Have you done their new menu?
No.
Okay.
Actually, we haven't.
Because it actually looks pretty good.
Right?
Yeah, they do a prefix. Because from what I understand is that they do that because a lot of people were just going up there to watch fireworks. And they'd sit up there and split a flatbread and sit there for 3 hours.
I mean, it makes sense, I guess, from Disney's perspective, but like, a prefix that's going to up the price for someone who wasn't going there for just a flatbread. They were going to go for a regular meal, right? So now you're kind of stuck. So yeah, I know that it's some people are, it's a little polarizing on California Grill now, but I still think it was one of the best meals that I had at Disney. We used to really like the Boathouse, which I think is a 2-credit as well in Disney Springs.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really good as well. We used to like to sit outside, but unfortunately we learned after a very shellfish heavy meal there was that my wife happens to have a shellfish allergy. We discovered it that day at the Boathouse.
That's not good.
And no, it was not good. It was a scary moment. I mean, everything worked out just fine, but so I don't know if she'll ever go back to the Boathouse again. But the food is good. The food is good, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've never had dinner. I've had lunch a couple times, and we did that brunch, Gary?
Yeah, that brunch is great.
Oh, it's fantastic. And I heard the dinners are amazing. I heard they got obviously good seafoods, good steaks.
It's crazy though. That place is run by the same company that runs like Rainforest Cafe and stuff.
Oh, is it? That's a Landry restaurant?
That's a Landry's, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Couldn't be any different, in terms of quality.
I'm pretty sure it's under that management group.
Huh, I didn't know.
I'm going to look it up. I could be wrong. I'll mouse keep it if I'm wrong.
Because if that's the case, you just go buy one of those Landry cards. It's $25. They give you a $25 gift certificate, and then they throw you at the front of the line. So if you could just walk up and go in there.
Have you ever done the like the car that goes into?
I did.
You did?
We did it. It was my 50th birthday, and we stayed at Saratoga Springs. And all we wanted to do was just do a bunch of Disney Springs stuff that we didn't do. So we did that hot air balloon.
Oh yeah,
which was awesome. And then we did that car, and it was a freaking treat. That guy knew everything. He told us like the depth of the water over there. It's like basically only 6 feet. It doesn't go deep at all.
Oh really?
Yeah, but it was so fun because like I sat up in front and just talked to him all afternoon. It's pricey. I mean, is it worth it? But for one time, I would probably recommend doing it because we had a blast.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time I hear the price, I'm like, oh, maybe not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I almost want to say it was like 100 change maybe for the two of us. It's outrageous.
Oh, yeah. How long did they let you?
It's like a half hour, maybe a little bit more, but
that's a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
You still looking this up, Gary?
Yeah, it is. It's part of Landry's. Yak and Yeti, T-Rex.
Yeah, that's right. I knew Yak and Yeti was.
Rainforest Cafe. But there's some high-end places that Landry's is in charge of as well. They this place I've heard of, Morton Steakhouse.
Oh, Morton's in Chicago. That's a great spot.
Yeah, so I guess
All right.
it kind of fits in. Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to hijack it here. But Boathouse is great in conclusion.
It is great.
Yeah.
All right. So now we'll get into the whole DVC thing. What is your home resort / resorts?
All right. So let's see, it was 2019 is when we picked up our first contract, and
now hold on a second.
Oh, okay.
So you're married. You have 2 kids. Who's the Disney nerd? Is it you or your wife?
It's me. So I grew up in I had 26 cousins on one side of the family, and my grandparents kind of started this, taking us down to Disney across all the different families. So I grew up with Disney. She had never been to Disney her entire life. And then, we got married, and I was once we had kids, and I actually probably hadn't been myself for 20 years or so.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. But I remembered once I had kids, it was that was part of my childhood. It really was.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to recreate that, honestly, for them. So yeah, she knew pretty quickly, we're gonna probably go down to Disney and introduce the kids to that at some point. And she was not a Disney person, but now I would say she definitely is. I mean, the other contributing factor, my parents, they moved down after retirement, just outside of Orlando. I think it was a ploy to get us to come visit them more, and it worked. And so yeah, so we have some roots down there. We have
parents moved because of the addiction?
Well, they themselves moved down there, I think, to lure us to visit them. Visit them more. I think they do like Disney for sure. They like Disney. I mean, they live down there, but they don't go that often. They're probably only going when we are down there, let's say, and maybe a couple times a year beyond that. But yeah. So yeah, that led us to when they moved down there, and I went a couple times myself with the kids, with the family, without DVC, and we're like, yeah, this is great, this is really good, but it doesn't really make a ton of financial sense to be going to Disney every year. I don't see this in our future that much. And that's when I started learning a little bit about DVC. But of course, there's trepidation around it's a timeshare and all the negativity around that, and it's not a good investment and everything else. Which is, when you look at DVC, I do think that it is somewhat outside of the norm for sure of timeshares. And you can objectively look at it as, I'm not saying it's not. You don't look at it like an investment, but certainly I have not, and I don't think I would lose money on DVC, and it's brought a lot of memories that we would have spent a lot more money on for travel. So yeah, when we realized we couldn't afford to go to Disney all the time, we looked into DVC. It made sense, and that's when we bought our first contract, which was a Saratoga contract, which was just perfect, middle of the road as far as price per point, what the dues were at the time. It just seemed to make sense. And then we looked at, how long would it take us, how many points would it take us to stay at Saratoga when my wife, who's a teacher, as I mentioned, has breaks for school, which are usually more expensive seasons overall. So 160 points is what would it seem to make sense. And that's what we went with for our first contract.
Was that a direct?
That one was a direct, yes.
Were they selling those in 2019, or was that just one of those, as they call it, pocket showings in the real estate world?
Yeah, they were still selling, I think, a number of resorts at the time. They buy back contracts that go resale. So they do have inventory, and they must have had a lot of inventory for Saratoga because it was priced well compared to others. And again, when I was taking, dues into account, I think it was the best one that was out there. I think they just finished, or they just sold out of Copper Creek, and Riviera was going to be available the next year. So I don't think they had any. No. I don't think they actually had any products that they were selling direct that were new. So they had a lot more of those buybacks on the resale market that they were selling.
It sounds about right, because they started selling Grand Floridian when they turned that existing building into DVC. Because I know that their DVC tower went on sale around 2014 2014. I heard that place sold out really fast. So it wasn't until a couple years ago that when they turned that building into a DVC, that they started selling it again. But
yeah,
I think Contemporary was. Oh, we got some background music.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Got a little echo going, but
is it on me? Or?
It could, yeah, I think it is.
Hold on.
We didn't have this problem. Yeah, we do now.
How's that? Any better?
Yeah, I don't hear me now.
Let me turn down the volume on my speakers. That might help as well. All right, how about now?
yeah, I think I don't hear anything coming on my end now.
Can you still hear us? Okay.
Yeah, good
Okay.
enough.
All right. So anyways, the Grand at that time the Grand Floridian I don't think was selling. So I know Contemporary might have been for sale.
Yeah, Bay Lake must have still been.
Yeah,
for
Bay
sale.
Lake may have been. So what sold you on Saratoga? Was it the points charts that you could get a week and not have to buy a ton of points?
Yeah. I mean, it was at the time it was selling. I want to say it was selling for like 160 direct, something along those lines, which was a decent
to
price.
get a direct contract. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. And I mean, the dues though the dues looked pretty good overall. It was really between that and I think like Old Key West, and it still had plenty of years as well. Saratoga had plenty of years on the deed as well. And I I'm a big believer in being able to utilize the 7 month, like at least when we were going. We're not going usually in the fall when it's almost impossible to try to use a 7 month, at a different resort. So I didn't really think that like the home resort mattered that much for us. And so far, honestly, it has not. Like we've never stayed at Saratoga. Not that I wouldn't want to stay at Saratoga. I would like to stay everywhere. And Gary, you said it's your favorite, right? So I've got to try it now. So yeah, we just chose it knowing that we would, it was the best deal for the money. And if we wanted to stay somewhere else, we thought we could still do it at 7 months. And yeah, that's proven to be true.
And between that and Old Key West, I love Saratoga. I stayed there once. We're staying there again in February. So I think it's much better than Old Key West.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree, Gary? I mean, it's not even close, right?
I haven't stayed at. I mean, we stayed the one time.
Yeah, we stayed at Old Key West.
It's different. It's very different. It feels more like I don't know. It feels more Disney than Old Key West to me, because it's all enclosed. Like the parking lots are on the outside and everything's on the inside. Old Key West, there's like parking lots everywhere, and you have to cross roads and stuff.
Yeah.
But Mike, did you stay at the one bedroom or a studio when you stayed at Old Key West?
I stayed at we did a golf trip where our friend put us up and we stayed in a 2-bedroom for 3 nights. Okay. I've stayed at the studio. I think it's the worst studio on property. It's so quirky. I mean, it's nice that it's got 2 queen beds, but it's got like my old school 13-inch TV that I had when I was a kid. It's just a weird setup.
Yeah. But the 1-bedroom though, I think is the best.
The 1-bedroom is by far, of course it is.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
I've tried talking my wife into staying in a 1-bed. She's like, I don't like old. I go, I understand, but the 1-bedroom is it's like an apartment. It's fantastic.
Yeah. No, I think it's the best deal on property for the most part. Besides those value studios value 1-bedrooms at the
Boardwalk,
at Animal Kingdom.
And what's the one at Boardwalk? That's like 9 points.
Yeah, Boardwalk as well.
Yeah, they got one of those. So you said your first contract. Can we assume that you've indulged a little after 2019?
Yeah, I mean, I started a DVC resale website, so you can definitely be sure that we bought more.
So what happened? Was it that you didn't have enough points for your vacations, or was it that you wanted to start staying in bigger amenities? Like, take us on this journey here. Because
It's all
Gary
a
and I
blur,
are
Mike, to
going
be
through
honest
this
with you.
process right now.
It's all a blur, man.
It's all a
No, I
blur.
mean, definitely it was the knowing, I think when you look at it, if you're able to stay twice a year and get an annual pass, it's a large unlock on like are you being able to stretch your money as much as possible with vacationing. Like all of a sudden, if you can get an annual pass and you can go to Disney twice a year for not that much more money than you were going once a year. But the thing that's necessary is going to be some more points. So yeah, we were looking at it like, we're coming down, we visit my parents, and we also, want to go on at least one vacation a year. And then we decided that the only way we were going to be able to do that was to add on some more points. So we did. We decided that we were going to add on some more points. And the other thing that everyone else was doing at this time, this is now a pandemic. This is like 2020, summertime 2020 or springtime 2020. So nobody's traveling anywhere.
Nobody. It was awesome.
Right. And we want to travel.
Yeah.
So I think that was a little bit motivating as well. Take that, what would have been travel money, and maybe invest it in future travel money. And that's when we decided that it was a great time to buy as well, because the resale market just crashed at that time. We ended up with a 200-point Polynesian contract that we got on the resale market. And at the time, I think we snagged it for about $130 a point.
Oh,
Which is it's unheard of.
Could make some good money on that thing. Flip that and buy like
especially
like 600 points at Vero Beach for that money.
That's right. Yeah. If I was going to, we should have done that 2 months ago, because Polynesian, I think it jumped up into the 180s or something around there. So,
which I thought was insane, because why would you not want to buy direct?
I don't understand
that
like
point. Yeah,
$1,500 on a $150 point contract like that. It got so outrageous that was resale prices. I couldn't understand it.
Yeah, it did. I wonder how many people ended up, like, if it was actually people buying contracts that drove up the price, or if just everyone thought that there was this demand for it and the price went up. Because I didn't see a lot of them getting sold, but I could be wrong. There were a lot of them on the market, but I wasn't really noticing a ton of them getting sold.
Yeah, that could be it, because I've noticed that it has come down quite a bit. It's back to reality. I want to say it's back in the 160s. I could be wrong, but
right.
So why'd you buy a Poly? Did you stay there with your Saratoga points and the kids really liked it? Or are you a monorail guy?
Yeah, well, we did want to have wanted to have a resort on the monorail, and the Polynesian to me is just, again, like going back to my childhood, and my grandparents when they would come to Disney, they liked to stay at either the Contemporary or at the Polynesian. The rest of us were staying in a motorhome in Fort Wilderness somewhere. So you'd go over and you'd go to visit them, and they're in these really nice rooms in either Polynesian or the Contemporary, and I was always just like, oh, I'd love to stay there someday. So we always had just a thing for the Polynesian, just because I just love the vibe there. It does kind of feel like you're on a tropical vacation, even though you're not. And it just made sense. It just made sense for us.
I do like the vibe there too. I love the Poly. I'm an OG guy. I mean, when I started going as a kid, that's all they had was Fort Wilderness, the Contemporary, and the Polynesian. So
that's right.
And you go through on the monorail and be like, oh, that's someday, as we're, staying on 192 or I Drive every time.
Yeah, you're at the Howard Johnsons. And
literally it was at the Howard Johnsons.
Yeah.
So was that your last contract?
No. And then the final contract, and this is
now you were talking, you got 360 before.
Yeah.
You got two Polynesian, 160.
Yeah, that's
Saratoga.
right.
Okay. And now, do you have to sell your wife, convince her? Like,
no,
she's a bottle of wine. Like, how do you work this?
No, she's I think she's we're a partnership for sure, and it was it was both of us, I think, that wanting to do that. So there wasn't too much convincing that was necessary, I'd say. So
I mean, Gary and I are pulling out like these old sales books and how to close the deal, like all those.
The art of the deal. Yeah.
Has it worked? Are you guys do you each only have one contract or two?
No, we have two now. We have two. We have two. I mean, we want, at least a minimum of 3. It was always a minimum of 2, and now it's a minimum of 3, and then it's probably you're gonna get your third and be like, all right, I could use 50 more somewhere else. And
you always want the next one, right?
You always do. It's so bad. It's awful.
Like when you win the Super Bowl, you want the next one, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what you do. You as we did when we bought our second contracts. We're gonna enjoy this, right? And then in the morning we're gonna get up and get back to work, right?
Get back to work. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
All right. So what got you into the third?
So it was the Grand Floridian when that new tower was going up. The I don't know if you're aware, but like last summer they had this fantastic promotion. And we did not plan on adding any more. But at this point, the dollars it made sense, even though I think it was going direct for, I want to say initially somewhere in like the 210s or something like that.
Yeah, that's
but then they had this summer promotion, and then there was another thing called, I think it was Magic Beginnings, where you could
sell back a year or whatever, right? And they would take that off your.
Exactly. So effectively that brought the price down to 165, I think, when you did the math.
Which is what you're going for on resale anyways, for the most part.
Exactly. So then you're buying it basically what resale is. Then you get your 2% on if you use a credit card to buy it or something like that, get 2% back in points. Now you're all of a sudden you're really down almost at like the $160 mark. And then, to me, that's the way I looked at it, is what is the resale price of this? It's going to be about 160. So it's almost the same as buying it on the resale market, but you got it at a direct value. And then I had been kind of getting a little bit into the rental game as well, and understanding that, if we have excess in points, we're not, we're able to essentially, you can ultimately profit about 40% when you rent out some of your points as well, if you're not going to use them. So the downsides were very little at that point to not buy that contract. So we added on another 150 at the Grand.
There's always a touch of delusion in us DVC owners, isn't there? I like how you say profit 40%. You're into DVC for 50 grand. You're renting points off for $2,000, and now you're making a profit.
Gary, you're still the spreadsheet guy, right? I can show you the spreadsheets, my friend. It's possible. Now, would you have been better off putting that money in the S&P or something like that? Absolutely.
I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying there's some level of delusion that we all have to have.
I thought this was like a safe space for DVC talk.
Gary and I were texting back and forth on Friday. I need 7 computer screens. I want to turn this into a mutual fund. I want to have a DVC mutual fund. I'm an animal. I'm like, we could use Bob's technology. We could all start making money. Like we're all I'm rabid. I'm sick. I need help. I
think you're onto something here, Mike. You're onto something.
I'm talking about, there was a gorgeous one on the site that I saw. It was like a 210er at Vero Beach. And it was like $47 or $49. So then I go on and say, move it over to the 5-star. What should I offer? And I'm like, okay, so I could sell like 120 and just pay my annual dues. Now I have 100 to play for. I'm sick. I'm looking at rack rates and what I could rent these things out for.
You got break even points.
And I've got attention deficit disorder. So I'm all over. I'm like, what a rack. Okay, what can I rent? Okay, can I rent this? Okay. I'm all over the place. Gary's getting you. He's like, you got to go to bed. You're a mess. So you got 150. Do you like the Grand Floridian? Or was it just too good of a financial deal that you couldn't pass up?
I mean, it did come down to it being, again, like I see the home resort. I know it's like an adage, buy where you want to stay.
Yeah.
But if you're diligent, if you're there at 7 a.m. on the 7-month mark, and you're, maybe not in the fall. There are some times where it doesn't work, but most of the time you can get what you want. I would say most of the time. So I bought at the Grand Floridian. I don't like the point chart at the Grand Floridian. That's the thing. Like, you're going to spend a lot of money at the Grand Floridian if you want to get into a 1-bedroom. You're going to eat up all your points, honestly, or at least all of my points for the most part, if we want to stay at a 1-bedroom. So I probably wouldn't. But we like 1-bedrooms better. So far we have stayed at the Grand Floridian once. We stayed in the studio at the old building. It was good.
Yeah,
it was good. The Grand is nice. But But I think I've had better stays at other resorts, to be honest with you. I like the Grand. There's nobody can, it's Disney's flagship resort, so I'm sure they're always going to be putting money into it. They're always going to be upgrading it. There's been a couple of years where I think it was not paid attention to, but clearly they are paying attention to it again now as they do all these upgrades everywhere. So I think it's a good resort. It's a great resort. It really is. Do you like the Grand?
I love it. It was, again, you go back to when I was a kid, it had just opened, and it was the first time we ever stayed on property. It was the most amazing trip because we were always staying on 192, and it would take 45 minutes to get to the parks from, driving off a property. And to be able to just get on the monorail, go back there, take a nap, jump in the pool, have dinner, and then go back to the Magic Kingdom. It was just amazing. I do. Yeah. I like the restaurants. I like the grounds. I like being able to watch the fireworks from the boat docks. I think the rooms are starting to get a little dated. I know that they're up for a hard refurb in a couple years, but I love the one bedroom. I think their one bedroom is just gorgeous.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's gorgeous.
Amazing.
Now, you said a word that you said this was your final contract. Do you mean most recent, or is it final?
No, we're done. We got to be done, I think. So it's both the most recent and I think our last contract. We'll see. I don't know.
You said we have to be done, I think, which means
we'll see. There's caveats in there still. I like it.
Well, if we start this idea, the DVC investment company that we've been talking about, we'll have to buy some more. We'll be the Wolf of Wall Street for.
I'll be your hedge fund. I'll be the hedge fund manager. Unfortunately, Gary's the responsible guy who goes to work every day, but I'll definitely be the hedge fund guy.
It's gonna be Michael Madoff Hurley pretty soon.
He can set up a Ponzi scheme.
Mike's just staying in 3-bedroom villas all the time. What the hell's going on here?
What are you talking about? We don't have a reservation under your name. Freaking DVC Ponzi scheme.
You're renting out the same points to 5 different families.
Now I have this vision. Do you remember when Disney used to they used to have like cash that was like Mickey cash or whatever? And it had like
Disney dollars. Oh yeah, I had those. Yeah, you used to buy them at the Disney store, where you could get like your travel agent back in the 80s. It was fantastic. Yeah.
So I just imagine Gary here with this roll of Disney cash after this.
I have some right there above me. See that little
you got a Disney dollar back there?
Yeah, I got some hanging on my wall.
Where'd you get those from? Did they actually have them when you?
No, someone found them at a yard sale and bought them, and they gave it to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like the old school traveler's checks that my parents, we used to have to go to the bank or wherever, the American Express traveler's checks.
Yep, absolutely.
So what's your total right now, Bob?
We have 510.
That's nice.
Because
we're probably gonna rent some out next year. So
I'm at 3, and I'm thinking 4 to 450 really makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah, well, I think you can go at the low seasons though, right?
Yeah, we don't have any kids. We can go whenever we want.
Yeah. So
and he's hooked on one bedrooms for no reason.
Yeah, I want to stay in 1 bedrooms. I don't need the room. I just want to be able to order a pizza and sit at that kitchen table and watch a football game or basketball game.
Right.
Have you stayed in 1 bedrooms? You said Boardwalk was a great deal, but anywhere else you've stayed?
So typically what we like to do is if we're staying long enough, we'll do a split stay. We'll do the first half in a studio, and then the second half we'll do in a 1 bedroom.
Back it out.
I would never do it the other way. I wouldn't go in a 1 bedroom and then downgrade into a studio. It would just feel like, oh no, this is a lot less room. So we typically do try to stay in a studio and a 1 bedroom if we're going to do a split stay. Although to be honest with you, I think we're getting probably tired of the split stays just because it is still a little aggravating to try to organize moving from one resort to another, or even if you're staying in the same resort, going from a studio to a 1 bedroom, you're still packing up and moving everything. So but we like to stay in a little bit of both, I think, when it makes sense. Again, I'd probably never stay in a 1 bedroom at the Grand Floridian. We'd probably stay at a studio there just because it makes sense from a points perspective to do a studio there instead of a 1 bedroom. And again, because we have to travel when my wife is on vacation and everybody else is the same time traveling to Disney, and the points are more expensive typically at a given resort during those seasons in general. So the
Yeah,
5,
because
10
even the
doesn't go as
summer is
far.
like the fourth, right in the middle of the road if you go in the summer, and then
Yeah,
like you
you
said,
would think that
April or February.
right. Yeah, you would think the summer would be dead, but and low on points, but it's not. It's really not. It's somewhere in the middle, as you mentioned, Gary.
That makes it easy to get that 7 month though, like you said.
Exactly.
It's not
Yeah,
as
we never have trouble
desirable.
with summer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, do you, Mike? Do you ever go in? Being a Floridian, do you ever go into Disney during the summer, or you avoid it like the plague?
Oh no, I'll go. No, I was up there for a few days when Gary was here in July.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go up. I don't mind the heat. I'll
Mm.
tell you what though, I live closer to the ocean. I'm on the Gulf Coast, and it is so much hotter up there in July. I mean, because you don't get a breeze. At least here, it's like
Hmm.
1 or 2 degrees cooler because we're near the coast and we get a little sea breeze. But oh man, we were at Riviera for our anniversary a couple years ago. You couldn't walk
Hmm.
to the pool, it was that hot because that pavement was, and there was no breeze, and you could literally like feel your skin burning. It was like 99 degrees. Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah.
But then again, if we go to the parks, it's only for like 2 or 3 hours at a time, and then we just go back and either take a nap or go find some food
It was
options.
hot this summer though, because you even mentioned it when we were on Boardwalk how hot it was, and there was no air.
Yeah, I mean, July up there is just you can't. It's just there's nowhere to go. You can't hide. It's just
Yeah.
brutal.
Now, do you guys sync up at least once a year down there in Disney together, Gary? When you go
Yeah,
down?
we try. I mean, Mike usually will arrange a day or two if we're gonna be in town.
Yeah, now that he
Mm.
has DVC and he's here at least once a year, like he's going to be here. I'm going up for a couple days around a couple weeks before Christmas, and he's going to be there a couple days before me. But I think you're leaving the day that I get there. But
Yeah.
I think we're going to have a few hours where we can grab some lunch or hang out.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have annual passes, so we could hit a park or do something. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we hook up as much as possible. I'll try to hook up with you. Give me the dates next time when and you're coming down.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Grab
Love
some
that.
lunch, whatever. I love just hanging out with people.
Yeah, it'd be great.
So is this tough? Will you come back on again? Because we definitely want to have you come on, hopefully before Thanksgiving, and talk about your site. Will you? Gary's
Yeah, I'd
looking
love
at going
to.
into
Are you allowed to say the
semi-retirement.
name of the site?
Yeah, we'll
Or
have
you
you on
want
as much as you want if you want. You like talking DVC, don't you?
I would talk DVC. Yeah, if given the opportunity, I love talking DVC.
I mean, we
Yeah.
could do a show just about spreadsheets because I'd be fascinated to know some of the
It's
spreadsheets that
funny.
you have going on.
In this journey, it's funny how many people who are into DVC are sort of spreadsheet junkies in general. Like, it's not uncommon. It's more common than it's not. Like, it really is. Everybody's trying to work out the system and trying to figure out how it makes sense financially, and everybody's got their own spreadsheet to go off of. And yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how many DVC folks are they're both into the data and into organizing themselves with spreadsheets.
That is fun. Yeah, I'm definitely not that, but I could see the
No?
appeal. No, I have to
Yeah.
like force myself to make these spreadsheets. Mike got happy. I made one a couple times, color
Oh,
coordinated.
so
and everything.
you're not a numbers guy then, huh?
No, I don't like it.
What were you more into, like science and English when you were in school?
Yeah, English, history, that
Yes,
kind of
yeah, I
stuff.
always loved math. I wasn't great at math, but I love math.
But yeah, no, we appreciate you coming on, Bob. It was awesome. I would
Yeah,
definitely.
it was a lot of fun.
Why don't you tell everyone quickly where they can find your website, a little bit about that?
Yeah, come see us at dvcforless.com. It's there. You'll find all of the listings from all of the brokers on the internet, and we make it really easy for you to discover contracts and figure out if they're priced well, underpriced, overpriced. And really, if you are a spreadsheet junkie, you're going to find a lot of data there about the market. We've got things like alerts, so you can set an alert and be able to be alerted when that perfect contract that you've been eyeing or waiting for, as Mike had pointed out, got a lot of those alerts over time. Yeah, it's come check it out. And yeah, maybe next time I'll give you guys a little bit of history on that site and maybe where we're going with it.
Yeah, I want to hear everything about this. You know who I think would be a great advertiser for you? Are divorce attorneys. You could list a few divorce attorneys.
Yeah, because they could help you split up your contracts, or you know, all that kind of stuff too.
Oh, when I buy that 210er over at Vero Beach, and she leaves me finally.
No,
I don't believe it, Mike. You're
I do.
Gary and I are pushing it. We're pushing it. He's in a better situation.
I got the kids on my side. Mike's one-on-one. I got the kids that support me. So
yeah.
How would you split up the points, Mike? Who gets? Is it right down the middle? We're going right down the middle, half. Or?
We got two. I think she'd be fine if I kept the Grand and she kept the Riviera. So I think we'd be okay.
All right.
Yeah, you'd be.
It's like an amicable split.
All right, why don't you bring us home, Mike?
Yeah, that's all I got. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at DVC Addicts. Email the show, info@addictedtodvc.com. And join our Facebook group, DVC Addicts. For my cousin and co-host Gary in Rhode Island, and for Bob up in Massachusetts, I'm Mike in Florida. Thanks again for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. We want to hear from you. Email us at info@addictedtodvc.com and follow us on all socials at DVC Addicts. We appreciate you being a part of our DVC community, and we'll see you again on our next episode. Thanks again for listening, and welcome home.